A very good afternoon, dear colleagues. I am Dr. Ali Asghar, Assistant Professor in Distance Education at Staff Training and Research Institute of Distance Education in the Gandhi National Open University. On behalf of National Education Policy Professional Development Program team, we welcome you all of you to the third live session on the Swayam Parva channel 20. Today we shall be discussing about role of technology in research. Dear colleagues, we know that National Education Policy, besides multidisciplinary education, holistic education, education through regional languages, mother languages, overseas education, and professional development of teachers, teacher education. Beside all these kind of teaching and learning practices, National Education Policy 2020 also give focus on research, innovation, and therefore National Education Policy also talks about setting up of NRF, National Research Foundation. And to promote better research and to facilitate better research, it also emphasizes upon use of technology while doing the research, whether by teacher or by the students or by the researchers. And to discuss on this topic, National Education Policy 2020, Research and Role of Technology, we have with us a very prominent personality, Professor Subodh Kesharwani. So let me introduce him first. Professor Kesharwani is basically from the commerce discipline, and he is a professor in commerce at School of Management in the Gandhi National Open University. Besides that, he is heading, and he is a director in charge of Center for Online Education in the Gandhi National Open University. Professor Kesharwani has 20 years of experience of teaching and learning, especially in the field of information system and technology-enabled learning. Professor Kesharwani has a doctorate and he's completed his doctorate in 2002 in ERP system from the Central University of Allahabad. Besides teaching and learning at the university, he has been very much contributing as a trainer, and he has delivered a lot of invited lectures on topics related to MOOCs, team building, e-commerce, technology-enabled learning, e-resources, technology uses in research, blockchain, and enterprise information system, and free and open source software. These are the themes which he have included in his lectures. Moreover, he is also, since 2009, he has a chief editor of a very renowned prominent journal, peer-reviewed journal called Global Journal of Enterprise Information System. Professor Kesharwani has about 35 research publications to his credit, and he has also authored 3 books on the theme of enterprise information system, digitizing enterprise in an information age, and ERP system. So with these words, I will welcome Professor Kesharwani to this session. But before that, let me also make a small announcement that as per our earlier practices, we shall be dividing the session into 2 parts. In first part, Professor Kesharwani will be presenting before you on the given topic. It will go around 30-35 minutes, and the remaining and second half of this session, we shall be taking up your questions which you are posting us through Swayam Parva live channel and through YouTube channel. So and one more request, all of you, to please post only those questions which are relevant to today's topic. That will make the session more interactive and more participative. With these words, I again welcome Professor Kesharwani and hand it over to Professor. Sir.
Thank you. I think thank you, Dr. Asghar, for briefing about myself and the topic which I am going to talk today. I think research and role of technology is going to play a very important role. And when we talk about, the national education policy, I think we have to take into consideration. So The topic which I am going to talk today is research and role of technology, and the topic is very quite contemporary in nature. It's more emphasizing on research and role of technology vis-a-vis, the National Education Policy 2020. I think the preceding speakers, we have seen that, talk more about, what exactly, the learning is, what exactly, the technology is, and with the change of time, you have seen that there's a great use of, the research and the role of technology, because without the research, without the technology, I think it's more like the boat without rudder, and it's directionless. So research is something which is going to play a very important role, and this is the thing which we are going to talk today in 30 minutes time, and after that we will take a question from our learners, and definitely we are going to talk more contemporary things and why the research is going to play a very important role, because in academics, when as a teacher, the research is very important, and the backbone of any academics or academia is the research. And when we talk about technology, I think this is going to definitely add a feather in a cap. So NEP will combine digital education with nationalism, and this is the the verdict of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the Prime Minister sir have very well quoted that digital education, or we talk about Digital India campaign, is all bringing integrating, rather we can say, the education with the industry and with the technology. So if we go more into the depth of this particular term, I think we have moved from the hybrid age, and when we talk about the hybrid age, I think we have to see that how this technology is going to intermingling the education, and we have seen that how the education is changing with the change of time. When we talk about the comparing the brick and mortar education with this particular term, we see that the brick and mortar education is something which was more talking about the face-to-face education, or the education with chalk and duster, and with the change of time, we have seen that how the technology had entered, and this electronic learning, or the blended learning had come up. And we have seen that how the learning management system, how the content management system, which is used by the variety of institutions in the Western world, and by the IGNOU also, that how we have moved from this blended age to this hybrid age. So a merger of technology with human mind, and if we go more into the backdrop, we see that IQ became a yardstick of intelligence in the 20th century, and when we talk about the technological quotient will become a measurement of how we will meet the technological upheaval in the present century. So there was a time when parameter was, the benchmark was the intelligent quotient, but right now the parameter is technological quotient. So research and technological role in education is very important. I think the way the thing had been changing, we have come out from the pandemic. We have seen that how during the time of pandemic, or the pre-pandemic stage or the post-pandemic, we have changed ourselves. So improving quality of education, better communication facilities, skills, and knowledge to students is coming up. So the quality is going to be improved with the help of research, with the help of technology. Why we emphasize more on the research? Because research, provide us the way, provide us the a platform to revamp ourselves, to recapitulate ourselves. So whatever the past stumbling blocks we have, we try to come out from that aspect. So anyway, I think there are certain terms which need to be explored in a more elaborative manner. I think the technology is something which is a need of an hour, and technology is something which is changing very fast. We have seen that technology which was started by the corporates, by the defense, and now it is going to be used by the education world. We have seen that how in the laboratories the robots are playing a very important role, and somewhere as far as the hands-on trainings are concerned, as far as the practical components are concerned, there is a great role of all these the automations, the robotics, and the certain technologies which are knocking a door, like augmented reality, virtual reality, the blockchain technologies. These are the certain terms which are coming up, and which is defending the research. So if we go more into the backdrop, we see that the term which was quite pivotal, that is SPSS software, which we usually call the statistical package for social science. But if you go more into in past, you observe that the research was something which was not purely a domain of the social scientist or the or the people who falls under the domains of the humanities. But after a certain time, what happened, this had become a cup of tea of the social scientists also. So it's not like that, when you talk about research, when you talk about the data analytics, it is purely falls under the domains of the computer science. But right now the things had been changed. We have seen that how we have used the research, how we have used the technology and try to interrelate, the past thing with the new thing. The comparative things are going to be done in a more different way. So this is something which we are going to gradually talk about, and at every juncture we are going to little bit, throw a light on that how these things are going to be implemented. NRF is a National Research Foundation, which is a initiative by the government of India, and definitely we are going to talk in that lines also, because this is something which is executing, which is which is providing a platform to do the research and apply the technology. So universities and research institutions are fertile places for groundbreaking discoveries. And we have seen that, we have birthed hundreds of inventions, from polio vaccination to barcode to high-powered microscopes. But these are the things which falls under the different domains. But at the later stage, you have seen that how this economic engines, how this academic institutions also must keep their focus on high-purpose educations and dissemination of knowledge. I think. We have to, though we have a huge number of talks on the blended learning, on the learning which is quite integrated in nature, which is equipped with the technology, because there was a time when learning was restricted to the classrooms, but after a certain time you observe that learning had been changed. So learning is now more blended in nature. It's more following the approach of pull approach, reaching to the unreached, and the learners are getting a lot of opportunities, a lot of options when they are go for the learning. So I think if you go into the bifurcation of this blended learning, you will see that there is a rotation model, then you have flex model, you have a la carte model, and then enriched virtual model. So a la carte model is like, you have got a baskets of courses, and these baskets of courses are developed in a contemporary way, and the learners have got a choice to choose any of the course from any of the baskets. And this is the beauty of the national education policy, because national education policy talks about the credits. We have seen that the lectures delivered by the experts on academic bank of credit, and these academic bank of credit is emphasizing more on certain aspects. So what exactly we have to see? We have to see the the comparison, the convention, and the difference between the brick and mortar system and the online learning. Because when you talk about the brick and mortar system, this is purely a face-to-face education, and when you talk about online learning, it is something which is quite contemporary and talking about the need of an hour. But if you see this particular image, I think the overlapping area is something which is more emphasizing on the blended learning, and this blended learning is very important because as per the scenario, as per the circumstances, there is no such rocket science, there is no such thumb rule which emphasize that that one has to go for this purely online model, because the jurisdiction, the scenario is changing, and for that you have to have the model which can be applied. So anyway, I think the three important aspects as far as the particular discussion is concerned, I think revolves around the term called research, education and technology. And I have already talked about when you talk about the technology work as an enabler, it can work as a the supporting tool, it can work as a the facilitators, and this can definitely add a feather in a cap when you talk about the education and when you are going to do the research. Because research is why is important, because sometimes as an academician we do the research, because when we go into the genesis of research, I think in the backdrop you find out what matter is the gap. So there's a difference between the researcher and the academicians. If you talk more about the academicians always try to bridge the gap. So in the class, when he or she is teaching, I think somewhere, he has to manage that whatever, the dissemination is going on, whatever the learning is going on, it need to be, catered in such a manner that it can deliver to the different, the segment of the people in one go. So intention is very clear. As a teacher, you have to bridge the gap, you have to, uplift the knowledge level of the learners, and how you're going to uplift somewhere, you have to fill the gap. So, and when you talk about the researcher always used to find out the gap, what way exactly, the scenario is. Like when we start a research, I think the research is going to be started with literature review, and when you review the literature, you will find out that what exactly we do, that we right now the scenario had been changed, where the size of the literature is very high, and how you are going to narrow down yourself, how you are going to cut short the research, so that what exactly you are expecting, that can come up. So research is very important in that aspect, because in the very beginning you have to narrow down the literature, so that the data which is available, I think somewhere it's going to be cut short, because in the present scenario we used to talk about the big data analytics. Why we are talking about big data analytics? Because the size of the data is very high, and the data is quite scattered in nature, and it's not channelized. So the only way you have is to channelize the data you have, and you are going to channelize the data with the help of that. So anyway, I think this is something is very important, because as I have talked about, the lot of change in the society is coming up. Open resources are coming up. We have talked about the OER. We have seen that how this open educational resource are knocking a door, and huge number of data is coming. So when the huge number of data is coming, the biggest challenge is that how you're going to narrow down that. So if you talk about the three terms, I think the research, education and technology, this is very important, and I am going to defend this particular term, the three terms, that is research, education and technology, with the term called pizza. I think when you go into a market to buy a pizza, you get in square box, and when you open it, you get a the circle shape, and when you start eating, it's a triangle. So this is called the intricacy, and this is called something where you have varieties of options, and then you are going to integrate all those things. So research is something which is having a triangular shape, whereas when you talk about education, when you talk about technology, it could be square or circle. So this is something which need to be taken care in more strategic manner. And when you talk about the digital era has transformed all aspects of our life. We have seen that it defines how we live, work, travel and socialize, and what more important is changing the way we learn and educate. That is something which is very important, because we have seen that there was a time when learning was restricted or confined to the classrooms, which we usually called the blackboard teaching, or the chalk and duster teaching. But right now we have revamped ourselves, and learning had been changed, and now the education is going as per the learner pace, as per the the real time learning had come up. So the tutors are located at different places. They are enabled with the help of technology, they are equipped with the technology, and with the help of the technology they are providing this learning. So anyway, I think education industry have come across into the real challenge. And when we talk about the good research always emphasize on the three important aspects, that is replicable, reproducible, and then transparent. So in a coming the slides, we will see that how this model is going to apply, and what comes in our mind, that why research is important in education. And we have seen that when research was started in the very beginning stage, it was confined to the institutions, to the individuals. But after a certain time, you have seen that how the corporates enter, and then industry interface model had come up, where we have seen that the research is going to be useful for them to making and enhancing the products. And when they have developed the products, I think somewhere they dominate the world market with that. And that could be the reason the shelf life of the company was changing. With the help of the research, we forecast, we visualize that the company product is having that much shelf life. So That happens with the education industry, and we have seen that in education also a lot of the research had come up, moving from the brick and mortar system to click and mortar system. The massive open online courseware, or the open education platform, which was initiated by MIT Courseware or by the Coursera. We have seen that how this edX had entered, and when they have entered, they have entered with a different phenomena, with a different concept. Intention was very clear that whatever the gap which was located in the market, in the scenario, in the education world, they try to bridge that gap. And you see that as far as the accreditation is concerned, as far as the affiliation is concerned, as far as the authenticity is concerned, I think everywhere you find out that online courses or the program is as good as the offline or the brick and mortar programs. Same, I think it's occurred with the Indira Gandhi National Open University. We have total the face-to-face programs, if we talk about, is 226 in numbers, but gradually within 2 years span, starting from January 2020 to the present date, I think we have 41 online programs, and these programs are equipped with the 4-quadrant approach we will talk about. And in our preceding sessions, I think the experts have talked about that how this 4-quadrant approach are bridging the gap. And as far as the challenge is concerned, which we usually have in online learning, in online dissemination, in online education, that need to be rectified and clarified. So how much does India spend on research and development that need to be taken care? What steps have been taken to improve the quality of education and research in India? So what is the primary activities of NRF? We will definitely talk about that National Research Foundation, which we have talked about, and we are going to talk about that what could be the purpose of creation of this National Research Foundation, and how this National Research Foundation is aligned with the National Education Policy, because end of the day the mandate of the NRF is to align with the National Education Policy and enhance the research and equip the technology, so that end of the day the learners are going to be benefited. So assessment and accountability of NEP 2020 will be the game changer for research and innovation in the country, and that is very true, because when you talk about the flexibility, when you talk about the modality, when you talk about the independency as far as the learning is concerned, I think somewhere the innovations comes automatically. So this could be the beauty of this particular thing, and encouraging policy changes here in permitting the research to retain IPR, intellectual property right, is something which is very important, because the way the plagiarism and other aspects are going on, I think we have to be quite cautious as far as learning is concerned. So it's not like that the contents which are delivered in a text mode, which are delivered in a self-learning mode, I think that can have that can be only comes under the ambit of the plagiarism. But a lot of things are going to come, and we talk about the concepts, when we talk about the animation or the visualization, that also be a part of that. So NEP could have made all faculty positions in higher education as a non-tenure track position, so that accountability will automatically fall in line and research output will go up. So that is something which is going on, because you are not restricted, you are not fixed for the particular time frame. If you perform, if you do well, you will be entertained. Otherwise, you will be fired or sacked from the organization. So research should go hand in hand with entrepreneurship. This is something which is there. And when you talk about the teaching versus research, I think somewhere the balance need to be there, because research is a long-term affair. And when you talk about whatever the learning which we usually do in certain time frame and accumulate all those things, then we try to inbuild in the teaching, and that can go on. So there is a difference between the teaching and research. And as far as vis-a-vis, if you talk about higher education institution, I think somewhere it need to be done in a more systematic way. And now the question is that how is knowledge created? And if you see, I think the research have got a different ball game. It could be in a different shape, and when you convert it into, it can go with the teaching in a different shape. So this is something which need to be done. And when you talk about the academics, when you talk about academia, I think both are are two sides of the same coin. And there are certain, the changes which are coming up, and with the change of time, we have seen that how this inventions change our world. We just recapitulate ourselves that in 1922, when University of Toronto had originated, the insulin, and then in 1938, the microscope was there, and on the same lines, you will find out that in 1996, Google was there, and when Google was initiated in 1996, the intention was very clear that they will try to work as a search engines, and later on you have find out that Internet Explorer and other things had come up, and in the present scenario, the cloud-based learning is coming up. So a lot of things have come up, and when you talk about in 2022, I think edX is something which is more talking about the open edX. So openness is something which had come from the softwares, from the coding, which talks about the open source softwares. But with the change of time, you have seen that openness is now going to apply everywhere. In education, we have seen that the platform which is initiated by the Government of Education, Ministry of Education, about this SWAYAM platform where the massive open online courses are there, and learners have got a full flexibility to enroll themselves in any of the courses offered by the Ministry of Education. So this is something which is initiatives, and it's not the thing which is there, but a lot of changes are coming up. So role of technology in today's life, we talk about affects the way individuals communicate, learn and think. That is more important. It helps society and determines how people interact with each other on a daily basis. So technology plays an important role in a society today, and because the society is changing, today's society is more smart. So we are more talking about the smart society, which is equipped with the industry 5.0, or the education 5.0, or work 5.0. So if we go more into the backdrop, we find out that education 5.0 is more technology enabled. Work 5.0 is more talking about the work from home. So when you're doing the things from your home, I think somewhere you have got more flexibility to do many things. So parallelly, the humans who are located, they are working, they are learning. So a lot of things are going to be there. And research and development, if we talk about is a set of innovative activities undertaken by corporations or government in developing new services or products and improving existing ones. So the research is now changing. With the change of time, you will find out more research are coming up in the particular domain. In education industry, the institutions who are technology enabled, who are equipped with the digital education, I think they are changing themselves. We have seen that in the school education, how the smart classes concept had come up, but after a certain time, when pandemic started, these learners have moved from the school going kids have moved from normal meeting to the virtual meeting kind of software. So these are the changes which are coming up, and the very good term which is quite powerful in the present scenario is the STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering and mathematics. It's a broad term used to group together these academic disciplines, and which is giving full flexibility to the learners to have a curriculum choices in education world. And STEMs are recognized for practical skills and often to learners, and are reinvented and played an important role in today's economy. So this is which is there, and we have seen that there was a time when electronic learning was confined to face-to-face education. Electronic learning was confined to the theoretical questions. But after a certain time, you have seen that the practical questions, which are quite agile in nature, quite pragmatic in nature, they are also going to be a part of that. So this kind of the phenomena had come up where hands-on skills are going to be required, and done that. And benefits of technology in the classroom is that it provides more engaged learning environments, prepare students for the future, because we have to make our learners future ready. Shelf life, as I have talked about the product, about the courses, about the syllabi, about the curriculum, is becoming redundant very fast. there was a time when we study, you know, the particular syllabus for a longer time, but after in a present scenario, you have seen that, you know, the nomenclature of the program is now changing, and learners have got a choice to, you know, choose the content. National education policy, you know, talks about, you know, the multidiscipline things, where you have seen that you have got a baskets of courses, and these courses are going to be, you know, reshuffled or you know, taken. Even, you know, the medical student can go for the papers like, you know, the music, or, you know, the papers which have no relation with their, you know, the core papers. So this kind of phenomena had developed, and this can boost collaboration. Gamified learning is come up. We have seen that how this augmented reality, virtual reality, and, you know, the Internet of Things, and the certain contemporary technologies which we usually call, you know, the blockchain, the machine learning, deep learning, are knocking a door. So why these technologies are coming up? These technologies are bringing certain change, so that, you know, the redundancy can be reduced in a faster mode, and the contents are quite become useful, because the learning is now, you know, considered, learning is today in the present scenario considered as a lifelong learning. So whatever you are going to learn, it's having a great mileage, it's quite perpetual in nature. Whereas on the other hand, you have to have a philosophy of learn, unlearn, and relearn. So this is the thing which is there, and technology provides students with easy access, information, accelerated learning, and fun opportunities. And we also try, so, you know, so that the learners who are associated with us, they can be equipped with this kinds of model. I think there are certain things which I have talked about, and there are certain facts and figures which is very important, and we have to throw a light on that why there is a usage of research, and why there is a usage of technology, because without, you know, the research, you are not going to land yourself to the technology which can be quite contemporary in nature. You have to do a research, you have to find out the way that these are, because there is no such rocket science, and there is no such, you know, the thumb rule that this is a technology which can be used for the particular segment. You have to have, you know, the certain, you know, the concrete reason. You have to have, you know, certain way by which you can say that this technology can be useful, and for that, you know, the research matters. So in the background, you know, a lot of effort is going to be done, because as I have already told that, you know, when you start a research, I think what matters is that how much literature you have reviewed, because reviewing literature is something which is need of an hour, and which is quite important. If you do meticulous, you know, literature review, you will find out that what are the gaps, and on the basis of that, on the basis of these gaps, you can start your journey. These gaps are going to be converted in future your objectives, and from that you can start a journey. Because when you talk about gaps, when you talk about objectives, I think it need to be on your fingertips. It should not be like that. You have to have, you know, objectives of the gaps which are you know, hypothetical in nature. There must be certain ways. So the cost of higher education in the world has increased by 500% in 3 decades. That is very true, and there's a flamboyant that, you know, the online education could be quite cheaper when you compare with the face-to-face education. Somewhere, you know, it's a follow phenomena of reaching to the unreached, but somewhere it's very expensive, because you know, when technology is equipped with the education or with the particular thing, as I have talked about, you know, the laboratory courses or the hands-on courses which are state-of-the-art courses, somewhere, you know, the effort had been taken, so these courses are going to be quite expensive. So open source universities also offer their own courses, making them a sort of one-stop shop for students at a reasonable price. Learning is therefore getting paperless with time, and soon there will be less or no use of hard copy textbook for learners. That is very true. I think we have seen this flavor in our online courses, in our offline courses too in IGNOU, that we have developed a portal called eGyan Kosh, and we have, you know, uploaded all the, you know, the soft copy of those material in and archived it on the portal. And what is the good part is that the learners are you know, downloading the content from there. So this is not confined to, you know, the bona fide student, but to the student who are, across the board, not part of IGNOU, but they are also downloading. So it's considered as an open educational resources. So things had been changed, and Internet of Things will soon be called the Internet of Everything. That is very true. And by the year 2022, it is predicted that more than 50 billion connected devices will be on the Internet. And educators often spend 50% of their time on non-teaching tasks. And these are the changes which are there. Voice assistants had come up. We have seen that how this Alexa and the Siri or the certain the voice assistants are coming up, which are bridging the gap as far as the teaching is concerned, as far as the teacher is concerned. So there is a great role of research in education technology. The primary purpose of educational research is to expand the existing body of knowledge by providing solutions to different problems in pedagogy, while improving teachers and learning practices. And educational researchers, if you talk about, I think they are seek to answers to questions and motivate development of the thing. So the impact of technology, if I am going to talk about, I think the most significant impact technology has on the market research, that is making the education aligned with the industry, and what exactly industry is expecting. Based on that, we have to develop. So you have seen that there was a time when shelf life of the company was for 30 years, 50 years, and they dominate the world market with their product. But after a certain time, what happened? The product stands nowhere, and we have seen there's some very good products which have dominate the world market. If we talk about the Nokia, if we talk about the product called Kodak, or if we talk about the Internet Explorer developed by the Microsoft. But right now people have migrated themselves, and they are going in a different format. So we have moved from command user interface to graphical user interface. But right now we are talking about the cloud. We are putting our data on the cloud, and we are putting all our so hard disk is becoming immaterial now, and we have a drive, we have a virtual drive, we have a cloud-based drive where we are going to put the data. So that is somewhere where we have seen that the things had been changed, the mindset had been changed. So technology allows traditional research beliefs to move past online surveys. And if we go into the verdict of the national education policy, and the verdict of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi emphasized the need for establishing an expanded research ecosystem, and National Research Foundation will take research across the various disciplines. This was also quoted by our Education Minister, and proposed to set a National Research Foundation with a total outlay of 50,000 crore over a period of 5 years to strengthen the research ecosystem in the country and to build a Atmanirbhar Bharat. So National Research Foundation will set up under the National Education Policy 2020, as I have talked about. And if you go into the backdrop, you will find out that more autonomy would be given. Funding is something which is utmost important, and research could be talking more about the certain aspects like peer review approaches there. We have seen that how this refereed journals, how this peer review process are very important. Then capacity building is going to be come up, where research mentors are there, doctor and postdoctoral fellowships are going to become, and beneficial linkages are talking more about that. So initially 8 verticals are going to be taken care, which includes science, technology, social science, arts and humanities. And the objectives of NRF is very clear, that the idea behind proposing is to seed, grow and facilitate research facilities at academic institutions, because this need to be developed in such a way so that from there the incubators, from the incubator cells, the startups and other the entrepreneurial skills are going to be developed. So the intention is very clear, that whatever the learning is going to be developed in a particular institutions, it can be reframed, it can be reformulated into the entrepreneurial format. So in academic institutions, special focus will be given to universities and colleges where research capacity is currently in the development stage. So NRF objective is to fund and support high impact, large scale, multi-investigator, multi-institution and interdisciplinary multi-nation projects, and this is going to be collaborated with ministry and other things. So And the aim of proposing NRF is that it will provide linkages between research and development, academia and industry, and peer evaluation of research project is going to be encouraged by that. So this is something which could be the intention of National Research Foundation, and government is also working in this direction. We have National Library Information Services Infrastructure for scholarly content, which is called as InfraLibnet, and we have seen that how the extending e-resources is going to be accessed by on a pan-India basis. And journals, we talk about that there are certain the manuscripts or the periodicals which are available and having a frequency of annually, biannually, or the quarterly are going on, and the listed journals are there. The indexing is coming up so that the quality articles are going to be accepted and published, and where a lot of rigor and technology is going to be used, so that learners are going to be benefited by that, by the reading. And open source model is coming up. The open educational, the peer review journals are coming up, and open journal system platform is there. The public knowledge project, which is an initiative by Simon Fraser University, Arizona University, and the various other universities, and the experts or the teachers who are part of this forum, they involved, and they have developed an open journal system which is going to be used by varieties of the academicians. So there was a time when launching a journal was not everybody cup of tea, but with the change of time you have seen that how it has become a reach to everyone. Even as a teacher, you can initiate your own periodicals, and the invites are coming up. So if you publish a quality paper, you go for a peer review process, I think somewhere the society is going to be benefited, and this is called the smart society. And Science Citation Index or Extended Science Citation Index, which is backed by the Thomson Reuters, this is there. And these are the things which is somewhere Web of Science, which usually called, are there. UGC have also, University Grant Commission also come up with a care list for the journals, where they identified and find out the certain journals which comes under the ambit of this UGC care list. So the researchers know that these are the journals which are going to be helpful as far as the publishing is concerned, and somewhere it's going to add in their APIs. So this is there. H-Index and Google Scholar is also coming up. We have seen that how the Google was started with a search engine, but right now is having a lot of certain things. And talking about the cloud-based the drive which is there, then H-Index and Google Scholar is there, where one can know their credibility. And when you talk about the impact factor, I think somewhere you talk about the journal. When you talk about H-Index or I-10 index, somewhere you talk about the author, authenticity. So Google Scholar is giving the full weightage to the academicians to know their credibility, to know their publications with the help of that. So this is all about what I have talked today, and I think little bit I try to cover what exactly the NEP 2020. We have a huge number of sessions on NEP 2020, and how the research and technology is very important, because these are the terms which are going to play a very important role. And without the research, without the usage of technology, I think research is not possible, because there was a time when we do a research which was no doubt based on the primary data, but again the process was quite cumbersome in nature, because we develop a questionnaire, then we physically send a physical copy to the respondents, and respondent reciprocates, and this process can take certain time, and sometimes that could be the reason the research linger on. But with the change of time, we have seen that how the Survey Monkey, how this Google form, and how this the questionnaire format had been changed. So we are now one step ahead to that, where we have seen that we have developed certain chat boards, and with the help of these chat boards, instant the real time basis the respondents are reciprocating. So this is something which is a need of an hour. Somewhere the orientation of research is there, and on the other hand the technology is with us, and when you are going to interrelate both the aspects, I think the education world, the academic world is going to be benefited. So make students more engaged and help when you talk about research and technology. and it's talk about the collaboration, and somewhere we are making our student or making our learner future ready. So thank you very much. I think we take some good questions which are just waiting from the audience side, and we try to interrelate whatever we have discussed today.